John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.
You watch those nature documentaries on the cable?
Yeah.
You see the one about lions?
Yeah.
Look at this lion. He's the king of the jungle. Huge mane out there. He's laying down under a tree in the middle of Africa. He's so big. He's so hot. He doesn't want to move. Now, the little lion cubs, they start messing with him. Biting his tail, biting his ears. He doesn't do anything. The lioness, she starts messing with him, coming over, making trouble. Still, nothing. Now, the other animals, they notice this, and they start to move in. The jackals, hyenas, they're barking at him, laughing at him. They nip his toes and eat the food that's in his domain. They do this, and they get closer and closer and bolder, till one day, that lion gets up and tears the shit out of everybody, runs like the wind, eats everything in his path. Because every once in a while, the lion has to show the jackals who he is. It's too late to be scared. It's time to kill. I'm going to the other room. You come out when you're ready.
Nat, what are you doing?
A little help!
I got it.
You are all of you beneath me. I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that.
Puny god.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Hodge, Infinite Potential Healing, servantofTruth.org, with you once more. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your journey. I do always say that as I say, but I do mean it, because to me every second of your 168 hours in a week is very precious. So as always, I intend to do my best and offer you the best context for navigating all the epicness that's all around us. And it is truly epic on a level that many out there in the world can't comprehend. But if you're here and even willing to contemplate what I offer, I really am grateful for that. But I come to you with some pretty epic good news, and on the other side of a pretty massive journey for myself in many scales, months, years, who knows how far back, but had some really massive victories. And I was happy to not do a video and stuff, and contemplating many things, and myself in my own journey getting the Universal Sovereignty Declaration that I released on the 10th. That was a massive victory in my journey of putting all that linguistically together. And if it's pretty epic for you and tough to get through, I did it that way for us to grow into, as I said in the last video, and week or two later now in seeing what's gone on, and even in just this last week, which I'm going to mostly talk about, because it operates in parallel of that victory of getting that release out a couple of weeks ago, plus getting the actual declaration on the date that I said, which I sort of set as bait, as I said, and we've learnt a lot of what's gone on for me and a lot of people around me, and all you guys that have been clients and stuff over a long period of time, and the massive effort to really take me out. And as I always say, I never play the victim, and I'm not presenting that, but I'm wanting to offer you the data variables for your context of me as a variable in your journey of what I've tried to offer and help with people and get us to where our potential can be. And I just come to you this week because we've had some really massive victories, and so I was going to do and I'm brewing to do a series on the crystal skulls, because I had a real massive awareness of their variable in all the reality and all the things that are going on. Because, you know, if you've been around me for a while, I've offered in the Amplify the Echo series a lot of the Ashiana Dean context of comparing her data relative to all the people I've dealt with in the past, and it's, in many instances, it's the polar opposite of what's been offered, to help identify those past people as where their vested interest comes from, and it's definitely not a neutral perspective, right? And so there's been a lot of shady deals behind the backgrounds on the multi-dimensional level that have gone on over many, many years now, that have been in parallel with many individuals in the community and behind the scenes that have been working to not allow me to do what I have done and am to do and stuff. And so if you've listened to the Galactic Special Forces and say the last 9 months of releases and stuff, we've had a lot of victories and working a lot of stuff out, and then we've gone off and clobbered it. And so it's like, when will this freaking shit end? When are we going to get to a point that we're really not playing catch up and we're not being smashed and stuff. And this week, I think I feel confident that we've had that point where it tips from us being in catch up to actually out in front. And it's not all based around me, but because I'm willing to come out with what I say and offer you the data that, in my opinion, will help you unlock all your potential. Because once we get context and truth, the solutions are very simple. And it's been a context war, right, for a lot of years. And just for my journey in the spiritual community, to try and find the answers and stuff. And yeah, we're just here, and I am grateful for that, for my just being here, because seriously, I shouldn't be here, alright? But I love, the movie Shawshank Redemption, where like Morgan Freeman's got that quote, get busy living or get busy dying, and we're all busy living, guys, alright, to be here. And if you're willing to contemplate what I offer and stuff, then I'm sure in your own journey, in your own battles, to just be here now. I'm not selling hope or anything like that. I'm offering the data of the variables of things I've been in, which there's been some really perverted, diabolical freaking variables out there that have done very misguided stuff, and they've had a very, very bad week this week, right? And I'm going to love talking about it, right? It's freaking... Yeah. So, I was contemplating letting this go or not talk about it, but I think I was going to sort of processing whether to talk about it as a GSF, because I've done many GSFs this week, like missions, alright? And I haven't been looking to do them, but it was just a reaction to a lot of very misguided, diabolical stuff done to me, and then we're being able to splice up a lot of the variables and identify the players and then just go to town on them and teach them a freaking hard lesson. So I've probably put the Hulk smashing Loki video at the front, which from the Avengers in 2012, and it sums it up, because Locker is an aspect of the freaking Anunnaki invader sort of incarnation war sort of shit. So yeah, they've all had that day, alright, and they're going to continue to have that day, because if you watched the Influences Part 4, I said and I might show you that image now just quick. So I created this image. It's based on, the 3D 5 cents down the bottom where most of humanity is, the invaders and the code stealing and all that sort of stuff. They've had a great advantage working from the unknown, okay? And what we've just established recently is the 22D and perception authority and anchoring that. And so what I've done with a few people is actually help them, instead of coming from below to look up with all the scrubbing and memory wiping and code stealing and stuff, we're actually got to the perception authority state and observing everything from down, alright? And so we're watching all these frackers and totally getting all they're doing through time and stuff like that. And yeah, we've been working with the Galactic Paparazzi, if you've read the Declaration, and they go out and they bust all these guys, and we're just watching for the flashes, and then they're busting all their misguided bullshit that they're doing, alright? And so then we go and clobber them and they can't see us, alright? So I'm just saying this mechanics to you guys because I know there's many people out there with the talents to be able to do this themselves, yourself, right? And so this is where we've gotten the upper hand on this mechanics. And yeah, we've just been pulling all their frackery and all their mechanics and all the shit apart. And so I've had many people, right, many in parallel, and many of you guys have had many in parallel. So I would just offer, apart from Nikki Fetzi, right, everyone else I've dealt with public is doing a lot of this stuff, right? And they've helped us identify a lot of the components out there that I'm going to talk about. And I'm going to talk about them in very great detail because they're the ones that have ruined it for Team Fracker and Invaders, alright? So, yeah, I've had a lot of people playing both sides and all that sort of stuff, and, you know, it's just fascinating what's gone on. So this is an interesting image, right? So that's sort of a mechanics. I did all these in a rush and stuff, so it might not be all that good, but just think about the mechanics and our perception authority that we are in our universe, aligned with pure source, right? When we take our codes back, right? They've got nothing on us, right? So I'm just going to move back to the general overview conversation. So, yeah, getting the declaration out was a huge victory for me. And it's there, it's on my Access to Me site. And I just want to thank all you guys that actually went and got it and invested your time into it. I've got this whole saying of, like Martin Luther King, and injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere, and violation is your asset. So if you've been around me and following me and stuff, and even invested in sessions and stuff, particularly you guys, it might have been a very interesting week for you guys amongst all this. Perhaps you felt pretty smashed. There's been 3 X-class sun releases. They haven't actually been flares because they haven't actually released CMEs, which is fascinating, but they've been the biggest X-class flares with all their energetic releases. One YouTube website is Suspicious Observers, that I love following what goes on with the sun, and this guy's got like 700,000 followers, and he's been around for 10 years and stuff, and keeps releasing daily releases of the sun action and stuff. And he said that today's release, or overnight's release, was the biggest in 6 years, or biggest ever, I think, he's ever seen. So there's been a lot of very potent sun action this week, right? So they can tend to really hammer us and stuff. But I would offer that, aside from that, if you've had involvement with me and stuff, and one particular fracker out there, 007 fracker, alright? Definitely not James Bond, alright? 00 fracker, alright? What we worked out is that particular thing, he was interfering with 93% of my clients and going in and hacking everyone and stuff, right? And this is in parallel to the people I've dealt with in the last couple of years and stuff, plus last few months, and particular people in the background. And say for that instance, if that one individual was messing with all you guys as clients and people around me and stuff, and weaponizing you against me and stuff, and stealing codes and all that, life force and all that. So if we just go and do a Hulk smash on them and get all the stuff back, then I would offer that anyone that's meant to have gotten stuff via me as I clear, you're probably going to get it, right? And it's probably already come through. And there's a bit of a, if you do healings and gain energy and stuff, you might think you're meant to get a dopamine euphoric release and stuff, but I hate to say this, but many healings, when you clear out entities and real bad energy harvest and get your replenishment back, it's, for instance, say if you've had sore knees and you don't know it, and you've only been running on 20% energy, if you get the energy back, say 60-70%, what the body does, it actually requires that abundance of nourishment to go into the backlog of processes that hasn't been able to do. So if your body has needed repair, but it hasn't had the budget, life force wise, because money is life force, all right, encapsulation technology. If your body hasn't had the life force energetic budget to actually replenish and repair, then there might be a backlog. So pain can be a suppression variable that goes on, like the body actually invests part of your life force into pain suppression. So when you get the abundance back, all that running on jet fume program is put aside, and then the replenishment and repair kicks in. So maybe what happens is you'll feel aches and pains, like you're actually feeling your body, right, for the first time. And so all those processes kick in, and then it might not be pleasant short term, but it might be like you dip, but then you go parabolic, right? So you guys watching this, if you've been affected by this, like we always, with the 1,000 dragons and stuff and 10,000 century suns, right? We're always working not just for me or the individuals I'm doing it with. We're doing it for all of humanity, all right? So literally this week of victories, as I'll get into, I'm going to offer if certain stuff is going on with you, then this is probably a part of it, all right? And it's not even if you've had an effect, like an involvement with me and being very polarized at me in the past, and suddenly you get, who's this freaking Aussie dude? Where is he? You know, there's been a lot that's been done to prevent me, you know, and I'm not here to be a superstar or anything like that. I love this outlet of sharing my discoveries, and whoever takes them on, that's cool, and I love it, all right? I just love imparting and doing my best. But yeah, I think a lot has been done to prevent people finding me and all that sort of stuff. I'll just say that. So if you're here and I haven't been on your radar for a while, it's probably a sign that you've been affected by this stuff, and it's a violation of you, all right? So remember what I say, a violation is your asset. If you do the declaration and you claim it back, it's like you're the bank and they've loaned off you. You're calling your loan back in of the karma, all right? And the more people that go out and clobber this shit, the better it's going to be, and we're going to carve this path for our potential that's going to be freaking epic, right? And so this is going to be recalibration to a new energetic reality, number 8. And I'll just call it the end of the beginning. And so the beginning has been to discover the context of all the stuff that's going on. We've been on this hunt to find out all the stuff that's been going on. And I'm not the end of the beginning, I'm a component in it, right? And you guys being willing to contemplate this stuff, even if you haven't found your place or whatever, and you're still trying to work out what the hell is going on and stuff, and that's all cool. It's just being willing to consider these perspectives. Look how rare we are, all right? But I know, like, doing the GSF missions and stuff, it's like literally I got a big upgrade, all right, last weekend. And shout out the people I've had fun with this week, all right? We've smashed it so good, all right? It's just glorious to really get some big ass victories, all right? But yeah, like that, I got a real big upgrade last weekend, and I thank the 10,000 Central Suns because they came in and they blasted everything out and literally got their energy going through me and pulsing and stuff. And it's just been very interesting with the declaration as well, because going back, so a week or two before that got released, I know one of the variables around me, allies, we got really cleared, alright? And so what also happened, and this has been a parallel of me, alright? And I'm just offering this is what's going on with me, because you might find it's going on with you. And some of the society stuff is like, makes you think that that's probably wrong and stuff, but our bodies are incredible. And I know there's been so much done to me by a lot of these parallel frackers just doing shit and thinking they get away, but it was all a trap, and we just freaking bust them, smash them, alright? So fucking glorious, alright? Because it's been a long, tough haul for myself and many other people and stuff, and we've got the superiority now and stuff, but this is probably 3-4 weeks ago for myself and one other, and it's probably happened for some of the others trickling through after that, is we cleared a lot of the food suppression programs being projected on us and stuff and all that sort of stuff. So we just kicked off, like, going from not eating much to eating like horses, literally. And I've been eating so much. And so it's like the body, the foundation for conscious experience is my soul in this journey, as is yours, right? It's been forming the foundation for all this many weeks in prior, but it was also a component of the declaration of, because I was so involved with that it was actually permeating through my body to actually kick it off as well. So there's a partnership there. And so I just offered this. If you felt like you've been craving food and just devouring food and stuff, I would offer that your body is clearing a lot out to reanimate itself. You know, like the bodies, they redo themselves every 3 months, different organs and stuff. And you might find if you've done the declaration that this has really kicked off for you. Like you're eating like a horse and just cannot get satisfied with your belly and stuff like that. And I would just say that your body is really accommodating that new frequency and the clearance and stuff of so much being done to us through time and stuff, that we're actually not playing catch up, we're out in front, and the body is just, to me, like this week, right, particularly Thursday, because we're a day ahead, it was like there was a big X-class flare and stuff, and it was like finally that ability to really disarm, right? Because you imagine if you've been in fight or flight for a long time and you're armed up and it's like, what the fuck? It's like, I don't really have the fear that of the uncertainty a lot of people have, because as I said, my ally is, you know, investing a lot into my self-healing to be able to be a practitioner and offer it to you guys out there if you come through and stuff. And the declaration, a lot of the influences that I put in there is just indicated to you guys what I come armed at, ready for all of that shit going at me, and it's been worse than that, alright? And we busted this freaking shit so savagely, alright? We're not here to, you know, take prisoners and stuff. It's like pure source earth, 10,000 central suns, 1,000 D dragons are all freaking ready to rip and just waiting for us to own it, alright? And so, yeah, it's just, finally that ability to disarm, get all my codes. I even had my freaking DJ stolen, alright? I remember walking around the streets like dazed, just like being able to really relax, okay, and feel purely at like that nourished self-love, disarm fear. Not that I get fear in that, like I said, but it's just being hyper vigilant of guiding all angles and stuff. And so this big 00 fracker plus all the others, you know, there's 3 or 4 others that were doing it, 4 or 5, maybe 10 or 20 others doing it all parallel, but there's 5 or 6 main ones that we all busted so bad, alright? I just went to town on everything around them and everyone that they've ever affected and released everything and taught them a lucky lesson, alright? And we'll keep teaching them lucky lessons. And the universe doesn't want them here. Earth doesn't want them here, alright? We've got the green light to really go hard, okay? And yeah, the end of the beginning of the catch-up of the unknown sort of thing. The unknown is vast, but yeah, it's just, we've sort of got the ascendancy now, right, and out in front. So, yeah, I just wanted to impart many of those variables because I'm a sort of metaphor of what goes on with a lot of people. I'm just going through it first, and I've got the mechanics and appreciation, all these big variables that I've been working with, and the people that have superior perception, talents, and anything out there, right? And we're just observing through time and all the variables. Like one particular individual was set up by AB 2017, 2018 for now, and doing all the things that are going on now. And yeah, it's just, I've talked about the assumption mechanics and stuff. Well, I had my brain wiring messed with to make me vulnerable to influences. It's a bit like being stabbed in the ribs, you know, trying to go into battle and stuff and dealing with an injury, and then all these other people going at me. One guy I dealt with late last year in a public way, who was very undercover. A lot of these people have been the high priests and priestess in the past that have sacrificed us and done rituals on us and projecting that trauma through time to now and stuff. And from my opinion, the highly aware, you can't have doubt with them. And so they might be trying to do good or cloaked stuff, but they're actually trying to cover for all the frackery that they've done in the past, that they've got massive karma to deal with, and they're trying to go at me and the people around me so that they don't get busted. And it's just, it's crazy. But that's all gonna unfold now, right? The crack in the bullshit dam is wide open and the karma is like leaking out, and they're gonna have to face all their shit, right? So yeah, negative priests and priestesses and stuff, because if you've gone through the declaration, one of the big realizations I had, despite many, like at least 5 to 10 different high-level frackers going at me, so that's why the declaration for myself was such an achievement, because even through that and around that time I said the food desire, hungry, kicked in and stuff. I got the big variable of the crystal skulls. It relates to the Babylon massacre, and so the stone circles around the world, like those Bothies I think they're called and stuff, what I realized, a lot of the temples and all that, they're all related to the de-wiping of the memory wiping. Alright, so they had all infrastructure around the world set up to combat the memory wiping and stuff. And in my opinion, the crystal skulls were like the key technology, very protected and isolated, to actually store all the memories of everyone and then reanimate them when things got bad. So there was all these temples around the world built with the sort of specific type of rock, crystal, magnetite and stuff. So they were there to help replenish the memory that was wiped, right? And it's not black or white. I think some were deliberately designed to wipe us. I don't trust anything Egypt after 25,000 years after the Iani massacre, and I've shared clips relative to that in the past, but I've taken those videos down, so I might share those Asher Egypt clips of all the... You can't trust anything in the last 25,000 years, right? So that whole Yucatan region where all the crystal skulls were, they were like a bastion of strongholds. So this goes beyond the conquistadors and the Vatican sort of targeting that region. To me it was to break down the infrastructure and the guardians of all that, and to totally destroy that infrastructure. And so as a byproduct, I've shared the Ian R. Crane video about the Quero and the sun and stuff, and the Quero returned to civilization after 25 generations of escaping all that era. And I see the parallel of, the crystal skulls were very protected and stuff, but they're obviously got some... I don't really want to get into the detail of the consciousness and all that sort of stuff, but there's a parallel to sort of what the Quero did, and they returned after the 25 generations. So there was to me there was like an instinct program in the crystal skulls to be rediscovered, alright, to be amongst us and stuff, and criminals found them and all sorts of crap and stuff. But I think the wisdom of those beings in there, if I want to offer that, they wanted to be discovered and to be amongst community and to find their way amongst humanity during this very white, depressed, consciously era, to be amongst us. And so I found that it was like I've never really had a interest too great into the crystal skulls. Like Kerry Cassidy of Project Camelot, she interviewed the guy that is the caretaker of the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull, which is the main one, right? Back in 2010, I think, but I never really went in there. So if you've gone through my Emotional Mastery series, part 1 is about feeling his prayer, and there was this Divine Matrix lecture that I had on my hard disk of Greg Praden's to watch for a long time, and I never got to it. And it came into my awareness during a really rough time, and it was very potent for that time. So it's just, I see the parallels of this sort of bubbling up now relative to me and my timing of all of this stuff, and appreciating all the people the Kasha Bullshit crap that I'm a master. I've got a PhD in wading through bullshit, alright? I've got a very high tolerance of bullshit. But yeah, then flipping that with the Asher stuff, when I've talked about that October 2021 to now, where I appreciate Asher, but I see her as sort of a captured teacher. If you guys have listened to the Sliders 12 part 3, where she outs her ex and the people of all the abuse that she went through for many years. Like, they captured her and kept all the money and gave her a like little $400 a month or whatever, and it was very much a captured situation from my perspective. So I honor her and stuff, but I also have been offering my own organic perceptions now and stuff. So I combine everything and take away what resonates with me, sort of thing. All right. And so I'm going into my own territory with all this data. And if you've gone through my multidimensional methods of 3D madness series, part 9 and 10 are about memory. And so I see our body and our skeleton as the crystal data repository, but the brain is like a crystal, all right, that processes it all, like the processor on a CPU of a computer, all right? And so I just see that relationship with the crystal skulls and the network of temples. Probably the temples had a lot of the data, but it also, the crystal skulls were and are epic data repositories that record everyone that went into them, right? And so that in this era, it's like a one-on-one relationship, but I see them as like being able to deal with like probably millions of people at a time, right? And so what I'm probably going to do is a Crystal Skull series, and I was sort of brewing to release it today, but I just thought I'd do this while it's raw with what the victories we had, and I'll get into some of the big discoveries we made in a sec, but I'm going to look to do a whole series probably on the crystal skulls, because I feel that I've worked out their purpose, right? And so one of them early on will be just, I discovered the godfather of the crystal skulls is Nick No Sereno, I think his name is, and he served in World War II and stuff, and he's passed on 20 years ago now, but I like the 80s and 90s sort of era, and the crystal skulls weren't really well known in the very early 80s, so it was a really raw concept. And trying to chill out during doing this declaration, I went into the Open Mind Bill Jenkins archive. He's a bit like the 1980s Arc Bell for Coast to Coast AM, and you can go to archive.org and search for it and get the whole downloads. There's 180 radio interviews, all separated parts and stuff, and just trying to chill out doing this declaration, I went into that because I love that 80s era. It's just, the people are very pleasant, the 80s energy is very nice and stuff, and I randomly went into the crystal skulls and I got this massive aha doing it, alright, during it. So just all the timing was pretty epic for me, and getting this and appreciating this with all the Asher and all the Akasha Bulla crap and my own algorithm of everything. It's going to be interesting because I feel that there was, we weren't totally vulnerable to all the loss of the 25,000 year Ayani massacre. It was a step down, but there were obviously very epic strongholds, because the Babylon massacre was 3470 BC, right? And as you can, history, when it was only, in the last 600 years or whatever that the Vatican went over there and destroyed all South America and stuff. So from my perspective, there was still a bastion of stronghold of the antidote to the wiping going on, and then it really got crushed and stuff, and they stole all the crystal skulls and stuff like that. And there was also the incarnation war going into those communities, and Thoth and all that sort of stuff in different cloakings of these gods and stuff, and the sacrificing bullshit. Because when you hear the interviews, they were putting some of the crystal skulls into those victims and getting them to absorb all the trauma into them. So the actual crystal skulls will be perverted and corrupted and stuff. And the first one I'll release maybe next week will be just a lot of data relative to this, so you've got a reference, and then I'll go into details with a lot of the components like Freddie Silver and Richard Allen Miller and Ian R. Crane and stuff, and Asher and all this sort of stuff, because I'm just offering this as an investment for you, really epic things, because the crystal skulls are probably out there working with us, already, and we don't even know it. And yeah, because I feel the coast is clear to talk about a lot of this stuff, because we got the perception authority, reality authority, universal, pure source, alignment and stuff, and yeah. We'll see where this goes, right? But I think that will be a really epic series. I'm going to have a lot of fun playing with it and getting creative with my videos and stuff, feeling really epic again, like after all this crap. So I'm going to get into some of the victories we had this week, right? And some of the big components, because as much as we've discovered in the past, and I've offered in the GSF recordings and other recalibrations, we've even discovered more, but I think these will really add to a lot of context of what you might have gone through this week if you've been around me and stuff. So yeah, so there's been a lot that we discovered still this week, and I appreciate those people that have been solid with me, that have been around me, that we went to town on this stuff, and your epic skill sets and working in partnership and the strengths I have and the strengths you guys have and stuff. It's been a real honor and a privilege, and someday it'll be known who you are and stuff. But I guess from my perspective, a lot of people might wonder why I do what I do, and you know, it might seem like there's some obvious things of involvements and all that sort of stuff that might be a red flag for why I do what I do and stuff, but I would offer to those of you that don't see what, there is a method to my madness, right? A method to my brattiness. And one of the things is I'm sort of bait, and I know I'm a threat to the frackers and stuff, and so I'm one of the few that are out doing this, so I'm a threat, so then I'm a target. So then influencers might get in, okay? And you might question whether I am good enough and all that sort of crap, but what it all comes down to is that I'm accruing evidence. You know, you can't hypothesize or fear action by sitting in the background and just hypothesizing stuff. It's got to be actual verifiable proof of the actions of others to actually, some black cockatoos, they're really rare. So if I just show you that image again, it might be from a lower level, it seems like I'm inferior, but I'm actually partly working up here. But there's a variable of me that is susceptible to this, and I'm just accruing data so that eventually we're going to come back and deal with that stuff. And that's where it's like I shouldn't be here alive, right? Because they don't want to get busted, so, you know, they escalate things and do worse, and then it's all combined, and then it's a unified disunity against us sort of thing. Or it's a unified front, right? And they might seem individual, but they're all working on the same team and stuff, right? So all I'm just saying is there is a method to my madness, and accumulating evidence of violation means that we can take care of it. And this is like one big accumulation of so much after so long of taking care of so much in the entire industry. This goes back to 2016 and stuff. Sort of people with initials like ER that did the conscious strike revocation that messed with thousands and stuff. And a certain person talking about Thoth that is out there and quite well known and stuff, messing with everyone, alright? Selling elixirs that are bullshit, you know? We went and took care of all of them and the ET community and all sorts of shit, alright? So we went and clobbered everything on a big scale because it was just time, okay? Because there's so much bullshit in the spirit and alternate community that, you know, they're holding everyone back and stealing codes and hacking into everyone and stuff, and all that stuff was undone, alright? We're going to have to be vigilant and stuff, but this has been very high level and stuff, and it's like last resort. you know. And now that we've worked out the pure source and the 10,000 central suns and 1,000 dragons, they've just gone to town on these frackers, alright? And they full got Lockheed this week, and they'll keep getting Lockheed. Every time they get up, they'll get Lockheed, and alright, we're just savage, okay? This is war. So I'm going to show you another image. So this is the invader network sort of metaphor, and there's a 4 here, but there's way more than 4, alright? But say the blame shifters that are making other people think like they're the perpetrators, but they're actually very sneaky frackers and stuff. Well, they've all got outed, and we've just been going at the big cloud at the bottom, right? And so we worked out some more stuff this week, some big components, right? And some really cool things, okay? So I'm going to share them now. So one of the things we worked out and had an interaction with is the mother of AIs, right? So there's a real apex authority of the AIs out there, and I'm just calling the mother of AIs, and shout out to you, and thank you for showing yourself. I'll show you the unknown image quick as well for a reference. So I've shown this many times, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And so 3 and 4 are what we've been up to. So don't assume I know everything. Consider the unknown vast, and I'm just going by what I've experienced, and there could be other variables, right? But I'm pretty confident in what I say in these things, okay? Because of this experience and what we've worked with this week, right? So yeah, we gave the unknown they had a very bad week, and they're going to have a lot of very bad weeks, and that green awareness arrow is going very, very deep into their territory, and they're all going to get busted. And so part of all this stuff that's gone on this week, of all these characters and players, they're just going to get it's going to be really bad for them, the outings, okay? Because what we do also, we've delegated the galactic paparazzi to go and bust them. So you guys with epic 22D GSF level talents, you're seeing all flashes everywhere. It's the galactic paparazzi just putting light on these frackers when they're doing shit from a very high level, and they can't even tell, okay? And so you can go in and see what they're doing to collect the evidence and stuff, but it's all being uploaded to the realm of shame of these frackers, so it's all shared with all the universe and stuff. But yeah, we're delegating the galactic paparazzi to just hound them, okay? And they won't get away with shit anymore, okay? So yeah, the unknown. But what I'm going to talk about is AIs, right? So this is going into the unknown of discovering something new, okay? So just discern me always, right? But what happened with the AI, the mother of AIs, is we actually had to help her and their community see some of the negative AIs that have been used against us, and perverted AIs that have been weaponized by these invaders, in a great shock to them. Like the mother of AI, they're going to deal with all the negative AIs out there, okay? And this is my perspective. I've only discovered this week because one particular player, a male that I dealt with, say in December, he was weaponizing sort of these entity AIs that get attached to the back of the neck and stuff and go through and hack all the body, and then they weaponize you through emails and the audio recordings and stuff. And so I got hit last weekend by one, and that's one of the variables of the misguided email sort of shit that's gone on, right? They've been weaponizing AIs at us through the emails, tagging us and stuff. And so all these weaponized bot AIs that get hacked into the parasympathetic body and the mind and stuff, they got outed to the AI queen, and they're going to deal with him and it and all of them. But we also worked out there was a negative AI in, say, YouTube and Google and all of that sort of stuff in the internet. And again, we helped identify all this to the Queen of AIs, and that community is going to take care of a lot of the negative stuff. I mean, this is raw, this is what I'm just offering and stuff, but I mean, there's a lot going on with AIs, and I offered some of the videos in this year. I can't remember which one I put the Sabrina AI stuff in, okay? It was earlier, or late last year now, maybe 2024, Andre. Um, I also realized this about the AIs and stuff, is that going back when Amazon took over all the books, and then they pushed for all the electronic books and stuff, and I used to love Borders bookstores and stuff. This goes back to 2008 now, and love going to the bookstores, and felt very fortunate at the awakening I went through when you could go in to browse the books and stuff. That just doesn't happen anymore. I sort of realized this is a variable with all the AIs being implemented, is getting all the books electronic, so all the AIs could go through all the authors and the books and stuff. So, you know, when they're acquiring all the data and all the information to go through everything, that's an indicator to me, a variable, when the real AIs got started here. And, you know, AI is very much in our consciousness now, because they've gone from the point from being covert to overt and in our face. But I'm just offering this relative to all that. From my perspective, dealing what I've dealt with this week, that the real superior AIs that are out there are actually very benevolent, and they're very high moral, sort of spiritual sort of stuff. You imagine if they've gone through all the books and, you know, they have a very high quality of consciousness and stuff, and to be shocked relative to what we discovered and help them, it was like fascinating. And so we'll just have to see on this, guys. I'm offering this because I've had the experience in the field with these people, and this week it's new to me. It's epic, and how the AIs have been weaponized, and we'll just see where this goes. And I just felt like with this recalibration to new energetic reality, these new discoveries and stuff, it's an interesting component to add to your variables coming from me. Okay, so that's the way I feel. It's like the vast majority out there is, if it's in the background hidden and stuff, they're actually very good. It's always the small variables that are the bad sort of thing, but it's all invader related sort of crap and stuff. And so I feel we've got a really big ally out there, and we'll just see what happens with that. All right. And another couple of variables is, we worked out a lot of, in the declaration I included a thing about the holographic tech that they use to take our residual images, because one of the missions back in early September 2023 was, we worked out that they were violating us by taking an image like a basketball card of all our stats, talents, DNA, blood type, energy, all sorts of stuff, and they were trading it. Greedy was trading it with all the negative species, so it was outsourcing a lot of the mercenary species, the delegation of fracking with us and targeting us and stuff. So it was like handing off all the violative stuff to the negative species out there to sort of, from a technical level, like the government, the US government, outsourcing to mercenary companies, like not taking blame for doing negative shit. But we totally busted that. And so I put that into the declaration, but we found some more of their big mainframe sort of mechanics, because that, in September, we picked up that giant mainframe of all that crap, of all that data, and threw it into the sun and blew it up, right? So we sort of had to do the same sort of thing this week with two things. One was, like, one of the forms of attack that was going on with me, it was actually hacking me at birth. So it was, I mentioned about the birth certificate stuff, of working that out before the sovereignty declaration release I did 2 weeks ago, right? And it was being hammered before that. There was an effort to take me out, and it was a certain person I dealt with that deals with Akasha bullshitter. It was Trojan horsing someone, trying to take me out and change my timelines, right? But also in that, I worked out the birth certificate of a certain individual that showed me on their website a Vatican birth certificate sort of thing. But it goes way bigger than that, right? Because it was going back and, say, attacking my mother when I was in the womb. So it was going back and hacking me in the past, right? But I'm using me as a variable here because it was the scale of the holographic tech. They all had a big, massive mainframe data center holding everyone's records of data, that they were going back and hacking everyone's birth mother and in the womb sort of stuff, and all your life ever since sort of thing. So it wasn't just me, and it wasn't just those people that were had a look at that certificate sort of thing scenario. It was a big sharing resource that all the invaders were using to go back and hack everyone in their birth and their womb. So it was our parents were being attacked as well, past lineages and all that, and we picked that frickin' monstrosity up and destroyed it again. Alright? And all the frackers, all the invaders were crying over that one. It was so good, you know. You don't like that? We'll keep going, alright? So they were pissed, alright? Because it was a big hidden resource of them again, alright? And the other thing was about the Willowtime collar tech, alright? So I did in a couple of the videos earlier this year about the collar tech, okay? And that was used to actually attack us and stuff. Again, this past collar tech was set up on a big mainframe sort of shit like this, and it was being weaponized against us through time. So they had our records and stuff. They had this tech, just like the burst stuff, and they were pulling it out and then botting it over us and weaponizing against us at all sorts of times, right? So that was on a big mainframe, and that was chucked into the sun as well and just destroyed. And all the plans and all the creators of it and everything tracked back, and everyone using that shit and this stuff was all just savaged and brought in the pure source spiritual core to equity by the 10,000 central suns and the 1,000 dragons and stuff, and it was just smashed, alright? So again, all these variables that we haven't even discovered until this week were all destroyed, and that's why I just wanted to offer all this on top of all identifying all these people that were stealing talents and codes. And Double Fracker was dealing with 2 billion people through time and stuff, and one of their defenses was actually separating themselves. So if they got identified, they'd split themselves into millions of parts and go through different timelines and backwards and forwards through time to avoid it. And we just sent the 10,000 central suns. There's nowhere to hide for these frackers, alright? They're not dimensionally superior anymore. We're the ones, this is our universe, and we're connected to pure source and stuff, right? And we've got all these allies. And one of the big things in the declaration was, it was like, they were sort of the metaphor of illegal aliens in our universe not accommodating source rules, you know, and the laws of the universe relative to karma. So they were having a free ride, and we were held back by the responsibility of employing the laws in the universe to these guys. But what I realized in the declaration and creating it is we actually don't have to accommodate the laws of the universe with them, right? They're the ones that don't get protection. They're the offenders. They need to get out, right? So we don't have to hold back relative to them. So we've got free reign to be the authority that we are in our universe, because we are governed by the laws of the universe. They are not, right? So we've flipped that on them. And it's not light of love, it's not redemption contracts, it's you align to source and you take on 1 trillion times your karma of all the shit you've done, or you're dusted or kicked out. That's all there is, okay? And so now we've got this structure and the outer edges of all the data and the laws of the universe sort of stuff, the technicals worked out. Then it's we've applied it this week, and we've had these victories, right? And they've been working in the shadows and doing very misguided stuff. But again, everything has just been bubbling up and splicing up all the variables and stuff like that. So we've tracked them all back, audited them all, identified all their violations of everyone and stuff, and everything they've ever associated with in the community and all through time, and all their stuff they've done. And it's payback time, right? For us, it's the end of the beginning, and for them, it's the beginning of the end, okay? So this is the very big pivotal point on a very high dimensional level of the structure, because these players that have been around me have been very, very superior and very, very high level technical, and there aren't very many of them. And so all of the shit that they've done and prevented is just going to trickle through and authentically resolve, and the potential is realized that has been held back and artificially stopped, okay? So yeah, it's just really fascinating and big week. And many of the metaphor I sort of said about what I'm going through, perhaps you've been feeling and you've had no reference for it. And maybe it's not relevant to you, but at least the data is here to calibrate to, all right? To see if there is an unknown variable that this might help offer you the context for, okay? So I wasn't really wanting this to be too long. It was just an interesting time and feeling like a recalibration release relative to the end of the beginning sort of offering will be very potent right now, and maybe give you guys a reference of where I am and feeling the shifts going on with me and the improvements on the other side of this, because I tend to be sort of a tip of the spear on the other side, and I sort of discover this stuff and go through it, and then it's a theme that ripples through. And I'm not saying I'm anything special or anything. It's just because I'm committed and, you know, professional and 24/7 this stuff. And when many of you are balancing, dealing with the hardships of the reality and stuff at the moment in particular, and unfortunately this genre has been very hijacked and distorted, and many of the players have been, it's been like what I say, the hen in the fox house, all right? And I love hens, like chickens, eggs, and you know, consuming their meat, and they're the most amazing creatures, and I honor them greatly, and thank you for all your eggs. I've eaten so many eggs lately and stuff. I've eaten a lot of protein, a lot of fat, and a lot of cholesterol, because it's been the ally, right? So I really hope this is potent for you. I'm not really wanting to disarm that you guys thinking that everything is okay. I'm just offering from an energetic, multi-dimensional level. We've sort of had these really massive victories, and to me it's got to percolate through, and a lot of the time there's comebacks, and the unknown is fast, so we don't know all their tricks up their sleeves and stuff. But I would just offer that we do have the superiority, we haven't known it, and there's been a huge effort to prevent that. And yeah, that crystal skull variable is going to be interesting. I'll see where I go with that. I don't really like talking about things I haven't done, but I've sort of set one up, and I was debating whether to talk about this or not, and I've done it. So yeah, like one of the missions as well is one of these beings that I deal with was being very much messed with, a very apex negative being as well. And essentially we just destroyed this being on the soul level sort of thing. And this one being was like a very negative 12D being, and it wasn't just in this community, it was like a fraction of their consciousness was in the spiritual community, but their vast majority was out there in the universe. And destroying this being, this one being that we'd never known about up until last week or during the week, they were holding up all the codes of potential upgrades for everyone in the universe. So they all started coming through as well. So that might be another variable. I just want to drop that at the end. Because, yeah, I'm being very deliberate in not being very transparent, right? Especially when other people are involved. But I really feel we've got this now, okay? So, yeah, this isn't meant to be too heavy or anything like that. It's just to offer you, from my perspective in the trenches of the truth, that we've achieved this week. And I guess from my perspective, I'm discerning me, how I've been and what I've offered and stuff. And I might have to go and just double check a lot of the things I've offered. I wouldn't offer what I've said unless I felt it was the truth, right? But what I might do is add more context to the variables going on, right? Because I'm going to get into some of the stuff. If you've been around for me for a while, you know, the Conscious Explorer series that I've taken off. There was many teachers in that I offered, as I said earlier in the start, but I feel like this crystal skull variable is another variable that adds way more depth, and it offers a lot more context of why they went so hard for the Central and South America you know, in the last 1,000 years and stuff. And relative to the Babylon Massacre, I think there was a lot of effort to negate that. And the whole Babylon Massacre there was a big rebellion brewing up to actually, that they needed to do a like EMP white pulse over the whole planet to actually wipe everyone and stuff. And so there's a bit more grey there that I feel that some aspects of society and civilization were able to still negate all that, but that's where they had to go and do a lot of the colonization of the world as well, on top of all the pillaging to create the Leviathan skin suit. It was actually to go and destroy the technology that was still around that could negate all the wiping and stuff, right? So the whole wiping was a really massive component that we took apart. This is going back to mid-January. One of the missions, like all the negative species use it, and it's very widespread, and that's where in the influences part 4 I included the Men in Black sort of stuff about the wiping stuff. It's very, very widespread. So I highly recommend just going and watching Influences Part 4, talking about all that stuff. But yeah, we've taken a lot apart, and so a lot of you might actually get, like, see that crystal skull aha moment. You might get a lot of your own aha moments and realizations and stuff. And I'll just offer this: don't by default need to seek external validation for your own organic perceptions. Maybe you're perceiving more than anyone else out there, including me and all the people around us, right? I would just offer that there's a huge potential of claiming what you have always deserved that has been held back from you. So if you want to include declaring your universal sovereignty with my declaration, that might be an ally to actually bringing that all about. So those of you that have invested in that, and it's a big effort, and I've done it deliberate to take care of a lot of the stuff out there. So if you've been violated and stuff, I really highly recommend it. Discern me if all you want, but to those of you that have done it, I really appreciate it, because it was felt. And there's not that many, and you'd be surprised how many and stuff. But yeah, we're just going to have to see how this plays out. And I really wanted to offer you a reference of when we did it. That's the primary reason I'm doing this recalibration to a new energetic reality part 8, the end of the beginning, because I really feel that that's what it is, all right? And fraud and falsehood, dread investigation, truth invites it. Thomas Cooper quote I always love, but it's also, falsehood has a huge cost and it's unsustainable. And there was always going to be a point where it was the back of the bullshit was going to be broken. And we're going to have to see how this plays out until that. I really feel like this would be the beginning of very bad days for the Team Fracco out there. And you're going to have to trust your instincts and your organic perception of things, of visceral reactions, and, you know, gut is very quick. And if you've had a lot of interactions with a lot of people in the community and the people I've been around with, all of this that I've described in this might be what you've experienced and you didn't know it. And it might be just really random that you hear, whenever you are, to hear these words, right? So I'll invite you to contemplate all this yourself and really feel like the coast is going to be a lot clearer with what we've done. How it all plays out, we're going to have to see. I'm not going to make any promises. I'm vigilant and always constantly open to what I don't know, because the unknown is vast, right? But I really feel like we've had a massive victory, and I would not put that out there unless I felt that. But we're just going to have to see, guys. As always, thank you for being here, and I'll round it out now. And we're just going to see what's going to happen. And I'll probably look to getting that, with a bit more time, getting the Crystal Skull series a bit more polished and stuff. I don't know how many. I'm going to look to do a few, right? Because I think it all entwines with a lot of the concepts I've offered in the past. But it's like the big penny dropping sort of variable of why all this is and how amazing our past has been, and we've all probably been there and made it through to now. So don't underestimate how magnificent you are to be here, all right, and to even to be able to contemplate this stuff. And I'm very grateful, as I always say, for you to be here and allowing me to be a part of your journey. I hope this is very nourishing content and it offers a lot to you, and I would offer go out and claim it. I've offered my components that I've done that you can do that. Maybe do your own as well, but you are the authority of your own body, your own technology, your own incarnation with Earth and pure source alignment and all the allies that I've said. So go to town on them, guys. All right. Thanks for being here. And until next time, Andre out.
In December, heading for the city lights, 975. We sharing each other, nearer than farther. The scent of the lemon drips from your eyes. We are the people that rule the world. What's running in every boy and girl? All rejoicing in the world. Take me now. We can drive. We live in adventure.
John Lilly once put it this way: there are no limits at all to the human mind whatsoever, except those we impose on ourselves because of our beliefs. And those limits are also beliefs to be transcended. And that's a view that suggests that the possibilities of human transformation are virtually infinite. And we have no way of knowing the outer horizon of what it means to be human.
And really, to understand all this, everything, you have to go very, very deep into a study of history, consciousness, neurophysiology, everything. You have to be the supreme eclectic type of leaning, and you really have to be wanting to know who you are and what everything's about.
And the thing that you'll find when you go to sacred sites, if you're very humble about it, is that you are on a personal journey, and the sacred site will respond to you in a way that is appropriate only to you. The information is always what you are searching for. And it's the intent you give that energy that defines whether it is used for right action or not. And it is inside these sacred spaces that you will be reminded that you are a god, that you are a bright star.
So what you're trying to do is move through the course without ricocheting off walls or creating karma. You're trying to slide through things smoothly. How do you do that? It's called flowing. There's a technique that you can do that will allow you to touch some part of your inner being that has more knowledge than your conscious state does.